Monday edition of Live with Mayor Rudy Giuliani, featuring special guest Superwoman. And we'll let Mayor take it away.
And the Knight Templar. This was our Halloween costume today during our radio show.
77
Dr. Maria
WABC,
and Rudy Giuliani was tonight a Knight Templar for later our going around trick-or-treating, and
yes,
I don't think we'll go in the New York parade, however.
The children out in Manhattan looked
look adorable.
Cute
everybody's having so far a fun and most importantly a safe time.
So tonight, Mayor, a special Halloween edition of the show. We are live on YouTube.
Hello.
We are live on Getter.
Follow us, Dr. Maria and Rudy Giuliani.
And we are live right here on Facebook.
Yay!
So we thought tonight...
put the sword right here.
And folks, let us know where you're tuning in from. Give us your name and where you're tuning in from. We love to do shout-outs throughout the program. It's a fast-moving show. We have a lot to cover. Jam-packed, just 8 days before the midterms. Mayor, any opening thoughts here?
Yes, let's begin with talking about the election, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And that's the questions that we want from you. And thank you for tolerating our Halloween costumes.
Can I tell a funny story?
We're both very, very holiday conscious. And we also wanted to show that the word is mightier than the sword.
So I want to tell a real quick story, my friend. So we have a business meeting right after his radio show. We don't have time to change. I'm a little bit nervous. We never met these people before.
2 people from Italy.
Right, and 2 people are from Italy. We don't know how they're going to react. We're showing up like this. They loved it.
Can you imagine?
And they took lots of pictures with us, and wherever we went, people loved it. And it is a good feeling to bring a smile to people's faces. But let's talk election.
Well, we're going to talk election, and we're going to begin with overview, right? From the last time we talked, that I got a chance to talk to them, which was on Friday. And I would say it basically has continued to move not as steeply, not as quickly, but it continues to move in a Republican direction. One example of that, for example, is the Democrats have now put a lot of money into New York.
Which is atypical, right?
New York governor's race.
Yeah.
Which one would never have thought they would have to do. But Zeldin has, depending on the poll, he's either 4 points behind, he's either even, or he's slightly ahead. So they probably still think they're going to win, because it would be a shock if they couldn't win a state in which they had pretty much brainwashed many of the citizens. 20 years of Democratic rule, last 2 Democratic governors go out in scandals, and somebody's going to vote for a Democrat. As you know, doing the show there, the city of New York and the state of New York, when I went around with my son, is consumed with crime.
You're right.
And the governor says one stupid thing after another about crime. The other day she said that, why did he think it was so important? Why did Zeldin think crime was so important?
People are scared. They're scared to go on the subway. They're afraid to go grocery shopping. They don't know what's going to happen. People can come right up to you and sucker punch you. Like, she may be right factually that maybe deaths are down from guns, but she's focused on gun violence. There's a whole bunch of, there's stabbings. There's throwing you in front of a train. Rape is a violent crime. She's not talking about any of those things.
Yeah, and then she was on with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Now, those of you not in New York, you might not know who the Reverend Al Sharpton is, or you might know who Reverend Al Sharpton is. You'd be saying to yourself, geez, he actually still there. The Reverend Al Sharpton, who I will say nothing about other than you go look him up. She was on with him, and she once again said that this was basically crime was Republican propaganda, fear-mongering. And as she's saying that, people are being banged over the head on the subways. People are being stabbed. He's talking about guns, and all of a sudden we have an excess in stabbings and the use of hammers, the use of bats, or just beating people up.
The fist.
And overall crime.
Yeah.
So talking about shootings and guns, overall crime is up 34% this year. Last year, it was up 40% under her. And subway crime, and she is ultimately responsible for the subways. Subways crime is up 44%. These are astounding crime increases. You can't go anywhere in New York and people won't tell you they're afraid and things are going back to the old days. The mayor and the governor, their approach is denial. You know what happens with denial? There's just more crime.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, I would say this very simply as somebody who probably is an expert more in New York than any place else. Zeldin doesn't win, this state's gone. It'll no longer be, it will have almost an impossible time to become a great state again. The loss of people is astounding.
You know what's funny?
More in the country.
I come here, I work in New York, I work at a radio station. I rarely meet these radical left people who say it's okay not to have no cash bail. I don't meet people who say we want to manipulate your children and groom them in school. I don't meet anybody like that. Actually, I meet such good people who say our state's in trouble. New York is in trouble with crime. And of course, there's the Biden inflation, and that's hurting a lot of people. It hurts me. I mean, it cost me over $600 to fill half of my tank for oil in New Hampshire.
So somebody must have written out for the Democrats that for the Republicans, the campaign is about the economy, inflation in particular, price of gasoline, price of food, scarcity of energy, Biden going from energy independent to energy dependent on dictators and enemies. Number two, crime. I'd say in New York, it's crime, economy. Most of the rest of America, it's economy, crime. But crime all over.
Correct.
I mean, so
except Philadelphia, right? Pennsylvania.
Well, Philadelphia has so much crime, I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Philadelphia set a record for murder last year. In fact, 17 Democratic cities set a record for murder last year, which means this is a Democrat-inspired crime wave. It's based on Democrat progressive policies.
Amen.
And crooked DAs put there by Soros, who will let criminals go free. They don't let one criminal go free. They let 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000
and repeat
go free.
offenders, right? You know, you're the law enforcement guy. You've been working. You were the third level person in the Justice Department. Isn't most of the crime committed by a select few? The recidivism.
Yeah,
people,
most of the
right?
crime is committed by most of the people that the Soros DAs are putting out on the street.
Yeah.
They used to, back in the 1980s, several great professors, in particular, Dr. James Q. Wilson of Harvard, did a seminal work called Career Criminals. And all prosecutors of my generation, including me, used it. And basically, it says far fewer people commit many more crimes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
In other words, we all think when we focus on, like right now, people probably think there are a lot more subway criminals than there really are. There's a lot of subway crime, 44% increase over last year. Now, please remember, it's like a 70% increase over 3 years ago, and we only have half the riders we had. So that's 100. I mean, I don't even want to do the numbers for you, but in other words,
it's very high.
Yeah, half the number of people are riding on the subway, and there's 40% more crime, which really has the impact of something like 80% more crime. And these people tell you that why do you think it's so important? Here's why we think it's important. Because we think saving lives are important.
Sure.
We particularly think saving black lives are important.
Any life.
No. We particularly think it's worth saving black lives because 7 out of 10 of the people being killed are black. Did you know that?
Here in New York.
Here in New York, and in Philadelphia, and in Chicago. And where's Black Lives? Where's Black Lives Matter? This is an epidemic of slaughtering young black men. It's an epidemic of slaughtering young black men. Black Lives Matter doesn't give a damn, and the Democratic Party doesn't give a damn. You know who gives a damn? I do, because I save more young black lives than anyone in American politics. I did it by reducing crime and murder in particular by 65%, and the main beneficiaries.
And didn't you put police officers in the places you were seeing statistically?
Damn right I did.
Through your what was it called?
My CompStat program, which
program.
Adams, I don't think can
comprehended?
No, I don't think you can figure out the first two buttons on the computer. To work
Let's,
out.
let's
Well,
do.
because there are crimes I know I could read. If he would give me the damn ComStat program in the police department for a month, I could bring subway crime would be easy to bring down. Now, some of the crimes are hard, really hard, like domestic violence. That's really hard. Gang crime. That's real. Drug dealing. Subway crime is a matter of patrol. If you can't do patrol, Captain Adams, quit.
And we'll do a few shout outs here before we keep going. Paul says hi from Australia.
Oh, I'd love to go. You've been to Australia how many times?
I have. I've been to Australia 4 times.
Wow. Hi, Paul.
Cynthia says hi from Missouri.
Ooh, Cynthia, Missouri.
Well, in Missouri,
We love Missouri.
they've got that colored completely red. That looks like the Republicans are going to hold that
Earl
and
from
win the governorship and win the whole thing, according to the last set of polls.
Earl from Pennsylvania says hello.
Oh, Pennsylvania.
Hello, Earl.
I pray for you guys. Hey, are you going to vote for Doug Mastriano for governor? He's a great guy.
Yeah, we
Let's
think,
talk about Pennsylvania a little
we
bit.
think. I mean, I would say Oz has won. He's ahead by 3, really.
He better win, right?
He's ahead by 3. Fetterman.
God bless Fetterman, but he is not
Well, I don't know if I would.
capable to carry out the duties
Well,
of the
somebody is responsible for being entirely irresponsible in the United States Senate by making him run.
Yes,
Now,
agree.
I feel sorry,
wholeheartedly
and
agree with
I
you.
would say, Doctor, irresponsible about him. Now, the little I know about strokes, or a lot I know about strokes, one of the things you should do after you have a stroke, particularly, he had a very serious one.
Yes,
he has to have had a very serious to be talking like that 2 months after.
Yeah.
You got to relax.
Yeah,
You don't relax
sure.
by running for office. I've run for office.
No.
It's got to be dangerous. The chance of having a second stroke for anybody is something like 20 or 30%. I've forgotten exactly, right, 28%. Now, you add stress to it, that 28% goes up. So what they're doing every time they have him campaign, every time when they had him debate, if they stick him in the United States Senate, they're raising the odds they're going to kill him. The wife doesn't seem to give a damn. The wife doesn't seem to give a damn that he's out there. I mean, if that were your husband, would you let him stand out there if you knew it increases the risk of his having another stroke? And his doctor had to lie his you-know-what off. The doctor wrote a note saying before the debate, when that reporter interviewed him off the record and said he doesn't seem to talk right, they tortured her.
Oh, I know.
The liberal press,
You
I think
can't
they
tell the
ruined
truth
her.
nowadays. It's the truth tellers who get
And
beat
then the
up.
liars, including the liberal press and his doctor, wrote he spoke perfectly. Now, you watch that debate, he couldn't get through 2 sentences.
No.
I mean, he began the debate. It began and it ended. He began saying, hello, everyone, good night. Go watch it. Go watch it. He 2 years ago, he was dead set against fracking. Now he's in favor of fracking. And he was asked to explain, and all he kept repeating to the reporter who's on his side. I am for fracking. I am for fracking. But no, the question is, why did you change your mind from being against fracking 2 years ago? Here's the quote, to being for fracking. I am for fracking. I mean, it was like talking to a machine, not a human being. Yeah. The man is.
I was confused when he said
I'm
he's
sorry,
fracking.
but it's a disgrace that you're running him. It's an insult to the people of Pennsylvania, just like running Biden was an insult to the people of America.
But they got away with it.
They got away with it, so they do it
running
again.
Biden, who couldn't come out of
Fooled
his
you once,
basement.
we'll fool you again. We got past you. We put a guy that's demented and is a big crook in the White House, and you didn't know about it.
I'd
We got
like
you.
to say
The
a
Democrats
few
did.
words, and you could as well, because Doug Mastriano is a personal friend.
Please.
And I'm telling you, this guy is the salt of the earth.
Colonel.
Yeah.
Colonel Mastriano.
Yep. He's a veteran. He's a historian. I believe he has his PhD in history.
Held the highest.
But more than that, he's got a heart of gold. And I'm telling you, he is running simply to save your state. He's putting you guys above his family life and everything else because he believes he can make a difference too.
If Republicans get elected and they need help in bringing down crime, we're ready, right?
Yes.
Knight Templar
Da-da-da.
and Superwoman. And I am a knight.
He is an honorary knight.
Honorary.
Queen Elizabeth.
honorary Knight Commander of the British Empire. But I didn't.
How did that come to be, Mayor? How did you become an honorary
It came
knight?
to be because of the tremendous bravery of the New York City Police Department and Fire Department. That's why it came to be.
For
I was
knight.
I was a
It
symbol.
was, as the Queen told you, it was your leadership.
Well, I told the Queen when I received it that I was standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's why I accept this award for them, because I stood on the shoulders
I
of
got goosebumps.
the bravest people I have ever met, who I watched die. Many of them friends of mine, and the best and most successful rescue effort in the history of the world, as reported by the 9/11 Commission, which had some very valid criticism and strong criticism. But they said of the rescue effort, they saved almost 100% of the people they were capable of saving. And totally miraculous, the work of the fire department, the police department, and the port authority. So those men stand in history as they're real heroes. And they were, and God was with us.
Yeah.
God was with us and brought our city through it, and gave me and the police commissioner and the fire commissioner and all my people just extra human strength for that period of time. God gave it to us. And then we had these people. So I'm a little embarrassed of the award, but very proud of it.
yeah.
I'm embarrassed of it because if I go back to Brooklyn and I say, hey, they say, hey, what should we call you, Sir Rudy? They'll start punching me. What do you think you are? Hey, you think you're Sir Rudy? So Rudy, that's the way they talk in Brooklyn. So now let's do a few states here. So I'm looking at the map. I'm looking at the map here.
Yes.
And the map is a teeny bit behind it. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'll tell you what the map says. This is like everybody puts all the mush polls together. So let's go up to the north, where we have the first really tough contested election, the state of New Hampshire, where we have General Bolduc now. I would say they have it still leaning Democrat. I'd call it a tie.
I think it's tied. So those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Maria, and I live in the great state of New Hampshire. Live free or die, which was a quote we adopted in the 70s. That's the first time we got the motto, but it came from General John Stark, who was a Revolutionary War hero. Live free or die. There are worse evils than death.
Still have Revolutionary War heroes. There are some people in New York who don't think we should have Revolutionary War heroes.
We love it.
They're called Democrats.
But to grow up in New Hampshire, I would say hands down we're a conservative state. At one time, so wasn't Maine, and so wasn't Vermont. We were all very, very conservative. Vermont really changed. They're socialist to the left. They feel happy that they're taxed a lot.
You got 10 times the economy they have, by the way. You know, 10 times. New Hampshire is 10 times more economically solid than Vermont.
Yes, that is correct.
And Vermont taxes you, takes away everything. Basically, you might as well live in New York.
Yeah, they are very akin
Or
to
California.
New York type taxation. But anyways, we were always very conservative, but a couple of things sway our elections. That's why people think we're a blue state. It is a glitch in our legislature that we allow college students to vote. I don't mind if they're a resident of New Hampshire, but if they just come to go to college and then go home to California or wherever they're from, they should vote in their own state through absentee voting and not in our state. And that's what really skews us.
You're not in favor of non-citizens voting?
No, I'm not.
What's wrong with you?
No, I think
Don't you
it's
think
a privilege to be a citizen.
about 10,000 people from China should be able to come in and just vote?
No.
Well, in New York, non-citizens can vote now.
I think that's illegal, and people who allow it should be punished.
I think it's illegal. I think it's unconstitutional. The court, by the way, has enjoined it as unconstitutional under the laws of the state of New York. Even New York has laws. And finally, I think it's unpatriotic.
Yeah.
You're giving away our country.
Yeah.
You have no right to give away half my vote to somebody who's not a citizen.
And that's how we feel in New Hampshire.
Who gave you that right?
So what skews our elections is these colleges. We have a lot of them, and we have a lot of private ones where people send their rich kids to. I don't even know all of them. And then we have a famous Ivy League college, Dartmouth, that is left of left. Like they're really left, and they allow all of them to vote. And it literally can be, being a small state can skew our elections. But anyway, there's a lot of energy right now against for
General Bolduc.
General Don Bolduc, another veteran.
And a hero.
He did, I don't know, 10 tours. Like, he's just a fantastic human being.
He's demonstrated his love of country, and all Hassan has done is help create your inflation.
That's right.
She's a what I call a three-time inflation loser. She voted for the three packages that have our spending somewhere near the Second World War. And then we have Dodo in the White House going, why is there's no inflation? And then we have Speaker Pelosi. I'm sorry about your husband, Speaker Pelosi, but this statement still stands. We're not fighting inflation. We're fighting the high cost of living.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's very learned. You know what I mean? I don't think she's very schooled on
Or do you think she's? It's just something one of the political idiots wrote out, and she read it. And she read it. So New Hampshire, they have.
So General Don Bolduc for Senate, he's looking good. A lot of hype around him.
And give us quickly the hot.
Caroline Leavitt?
Yeah, Caroline Leavitt, very,
for
very,
U.S.
very
Congress
hot.
going against another real lefty papist who did nothing to help not only the people of
three-time inflation loser.
New Hampshire, but a three-time inflation, kept voting for stuff that they knew would hurt us. They knew we would spend more money for our eggs, for our gas. Ugh. And then Annie Custer on Congressional District 2 did the same thing. She's a three-time...
She voted to take your savings and send them down 12%.
Yep. So we are really... There's a lot of momentum. General Don Bolduc for U.S. Senate. Caroline Leavitt, young, a Gen Zer, energetic, great ideas, common sense.
Now we got to move on to another state.
Yep. And then Robert Burns in the western part.
So now we go to New York. New York, we talked about the governor's race. The Senate race, we watched the debate last night. And I'm so involved in New York. You can have a more objective opinion. Senator Schumer, who sold his any caring about New York or even Israel to be a majority leader. I mean, the man used to be a big supporter of Israel, but sits there as anti-Semites in the Democratic caucus in the House want to destroy the state of Israel.
And he says nothing.
And I would, if I were him, I'd be asking that they be certainly removed from their committee assignments. They want to, please, let's not. They want to destroy the state of Israel. They want to economically cut off all trade with Israel so it is destroyed. They are virulent anti-Semites. There's nothing close to it. He is silent about them, and he's a major leader of the party. And I remember, because he was the senator for part of the time, and then in Congress when I was the mayor, I am a very strong supporter. He was standing right there with me. And somebody like that, he would have wanted thrown out of the Republican or Democratic Party. You can be against Israel, but you can't be for the destruction of the state of Israel, which is what they're for. Now, I don't say he has to throw them out of the party. I don't know. But at least they should be taken off their committee assignments and not given a pedestal on which to advocate the destruction of the state of Israel. So the guy who sold his soul to be majority leader, and by the way, this is a senator in a state that's losing more population than any in America. You should be embarrassed to be the senator in that state. Like you should be embarrassed to be the governor. It means you're doing a lousy job. He got his head kicked in.
I have to say, I was
He was on the
so
floor.
impressed with Joe Pinion. Like, New Yorkers, you have a chance to change destiny. Really, it shouldn't be a shoo-in that Schumer gets in.
He's 13
He
behind.
did nothing to help your state. Not only your state, senators can hurt our country. And every single one of those crazy people who voted for that inflation expansion bill, the infrastructure bill, we met with an economist today. All that is directly related to those bills and putting so much money into the system.
So that's a long shot.
Yeah,
Not a long shot as Oz. We already
Yeah.
talked about that. Oz should beat the Fetterman, seriously. All the talk about whatever, I mean, we're talking about a guy being in the Senate. Oz can represent Pennsylvania. Fetterman is not capable of representing anyone and should be getting treatment. Like the president should be in a nursing home. We got any reactions or questions?
Yes.
'Cause now we'll move on to Ohio, where Vance looks like he's got it. But go ahead.
Yes, so send in your questions for the mayor and the doctor. They are ready to answer any questions you may have while we wait for those to come in. Hammond, Louisiana. Frank from Hammond, Louisiana says hi.
Hello.
Susan from Whittier, Southern California says hello.
Oh, hello.
So we have questions here. All right, well, we haven't gotten to this state, and this question has come up a couple times in the
Good.
chat. Georgia,
Well, I was
Herschel
just-
Walker, what are your
just
thoughts?
looking at Georgia. Georgia is listed here because they have a very hard time listing. They have this now they have it as leaning Republican,
Yep.
as well as Nevada. Those two states from the last time we talked on Friday, those are big moves. Both they have it leaning, tilting,
What do you
slightly.
think made the difference with Herschel?
Slightly
All of a sudden
Republican.
He's soaring in the polls, and he was trailing. Do you think it's
I
just...
thought I thought two things, or maybe three. One, the debate. Herschel, they painted such a terrible picture of Herschel. They expected some monster to walk out who had no brains. Herschel happens to be a very intelligent man. He was actually much more relatable than Warnock. He explained things in a way that people understood. When he pointed out the extreme of the Democrat position on abortion, he probably shocked the people of Georgia, particularly the minister, holding his position that you could abort a 9-month fetus,
Oh
which
my
basically
God.
means kill a baby.
That's murder.
And Warnock could not respond to that because he did support that. And so when they try to use the Republican extreme, which Herschel doesn't embrace, by the way, the Democratic extreme is kill them when they're 6, 7, 8 months, 9 months in the womb. There are some Democrats that actually think you get a little waiting period after the baby is born if the abortion doesn't go right, and the mother has an option to not have that baby. What do we call that? First degree murder is what civilized human beings call that. I think that helped a lot. I think they overdid it. The latest charge against him, 2 weeks before the election, no support, no corroboration. Meanwhile, not that the press prints this, but a lot of people found out that Warnock has one heck of a record of running his wife over,
Yeah,
who came out and
violence.
his wife came out and said, hey, he should stop throwing stones. He ran me over, he beat me up.
Wow.
I'm not the only one he did that with.
Wow.
I mean, he's got, and we don't get much of a response from him on that.
We're the Democrat feminists on that one.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
They left when the woman came forward against Biden.
Lots of positive comments on the costumes, folks. They love Supergirl. People are asking all about Dr. Maria, so we want to make sure that we have the doctor on more often, Mayor. And then when it comes to the mayor's outfit, here's one comment from Denny. The shirt represents the cardinal directions. So do you, Mayor. You are reaching out for the world.
Oh, how lovely.
And we are getting a lot of positive comments,
Well,
obviously, on
there are-
Supergirl, not Wonder Woman. We believe this is a Supergirl
Oh
outfit.
my God, guys. I thought initially when I put this costume on today, I was Wonder Woman. And remember she had those cuffs
No,
in the
you're Supergirl.
70s, Linda Carter, and she did the thing. So all day I'm doing this.
No,
and
no,
then
you're
I
Super-
realized I looked down and I'm like, oh, I'm Superwoman or Supergirl.
Then she found her kryptonite, and it's been tough to deal with her all day.
Jet is one of our moderators. He's been with us from the beginning. He says, Dr. Maria, you look outstanding.
Oh,
And that is from
thank you.
Jet, who's always been helpful from the beginning. America's mayor.
We'll
So
move
we're
on to
gonna
a couple
comments.
more states that I happen to see in that part of the world. So Florida, they got it likely Rubio. I'd say, yeah, right. It's going to go to Rubio. Rubio will hold that.
In the
we'll hold
beginning,
that
though,
seat.
it really was tough. He had to fight, right?
Yeah, but they did that whole thing with Val Demings is really a moderate, except she was for defund the police, Black
I know.
Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, she's extreme. Demings.
I think she supports the. You don't have to let the parents know if you're going to mutilate the children. The school can decide. How about that one? There's a bill in the New York State Legislature, by the way, to make that the law in New York. That the school and the doctors can decide if the child wants to be mutilated, to mutilate the child, even though the child's 12, 13, 14, 15, without, and if the parents are like prejudiced and white supremacists or whatever we're supposed to be, then you don't have to tell the parents. Now, tell me that, just
Oh, somebody calling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
tell me that isn't communist.
So where do all these comments come from?
So we have people commenting in almost nonstop here on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Getter, and people are able to comment live throughout the show. And people are they're loving the costumes. They say Dr. Maria is a great addition to the program, and the mayor and the doctor are getting lots of love across social media. So as we move west,
let's see. People thought that we were going to have a close race in
Nevada,
in
right?
Texas.
Oh, Texas.
For governor. That's over.
Yeah.
Abbott's going to wipe the floor with them.
Yeah.
I do believe that same thing will be true with DeSantis, which takes two very, very good governors and gives them the re-election they deserve. Governor's so much better than in New York and Pennsylvania and states that are suffering much higher unemployment, much higher crime. Then I would say the next one that's really, well, what about Arizona and Nevada? Those are tough ones. Now Laxalt looks like he has it. It looks like it. That they have it leaning Republican, and they have Georgia leaning Republican. Arizona, they have leaning Democrat. I would say right now.
and that is the Senate race we're talking.
Senate race we're talking about, yeah.
We have a lot of questions
The
about
governor's race, I believe, Carrie Lake.
people are asking about Carrie Lake.
winning
We're getting
that
a
by-
lot of comments about Carrie
I think
Lake.
Carrie,
You
in
speak
Arizona.
first, and I want to make a couple comments.
I think
about
Carrie Lake is pushing double digits.
And that should help the Senate race.
It should help the Senate race a lot.
So Carrie
And I'm going
Lake
to go get some more polls. Well,
had
not-
asked Rudy for an endorsement early on, and I started to look her up and follow her a little bit, and she's a fascinating human being. You know how some of the radical Democrats will take sound bites and they distort it. I've seen it with General Bullock. They'll take one thing of a whole interview that he said and put it with a question he was never asked. So I see all these funny shenanigans that aren't really ethical. But anyways, Carrie Lake turned the tables. She asked her husband to start filming the media. So if they play games and try to take her words and twist them and put them with other questions, he's got the whole thing right there. And she is tough as nails. And I really believe to get our country straight again, on the straight and narrow, where our economy prospers, where we value children in school, value good education, we have safe streets. We need people who are tough. That's why people are upset with McConnell, right? We feel like he always betrays us. He always wants to make a deal to keep things all calm. Sometimes you can't make that deal. You can't sell your soul to the devil. And I really admire Carrie Lake.
Well, let's look at what we have in Arizona. Let's see. Here we have Georgia. We have the latest Georgia poll that they have here. This is Real Clear Politics now. You have Kemp by 7, the Republican, and Walker by 1.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that difference between, and it's in some other states as well, but in Georgia, where you have a Brian Kemp running anywhere from 5 to 7 points ahead in the gubernatorial race,
Head of the real Governor Abrams.
ahead of the real guy.
She was
That's
allowed to. She was allowed to say that the
She's an
race was.
election denier.
She and Hillary Clinton have said.
Superwoman needs to.
She and Hillary Clinton have been allowed to say endlessly that they actually won, that the election was illegitimate, that the governor or the president was illegitimate, without any complaint from the Democrats. No January 6th committee for them. Well, I think Kemp will show her that she got to step down as the governor. Now, I don't know how she's going to do that, since she really never was the governor except in her head. And they have Walker by 1. They have another poll where Warnock is ahead. So you'd have to say they call it a tie. I say Walker's ahead by 3.
How often do you think people split the ticket, whereas you get a governor or someone top of ticket you like, they're a Republican, independent, whatever, and you just do that one that goes all the way down, versus, okay, I think I'm going to vote Republican for the governor, but Senate I'm going to vote independent.
I think in this day and age, it's hard to do that, because the parties are so diametrically opposed.
That is true.
And the candidates
That
for
is
governor and senator pretty much reflect each other's views. So you look at Kemp and Walker, They're lower taxes. They're for energy independence. Therefore, without any doubt, they're for a much stronger approach to China. Whereas on the other side, you've got the inflation. Both candidates are in favor of Biden's legislation that created inflation. We'll continue to support that, spending like the Second World War. None of them have criticized Biden at all for how he's given America away in Afghanistan and elsewhere, how he helped to create the situation. And I mean, no one in the world believes that the Ukraine would have happened if Trump were president. Nobody. I don't even think Biden believes it. I mean, Ukraine is the direct result of his cowardice in Afghanistan.
Sure, and I fear that China will make a move on Taiwan while Biden is in office within the
And then on crime, both Abrams and Warnock were defund the police, big supporters of Black Lives Matter, which is a kill the police organization, whereas both Walker and Kemp were big opponents of them. So there are times in which the two Republicans and the two Democrats don't ideologically align. In this particular case, they're hand in glove. I mean, it's almost silly to vote for one and not the other, unless there's a personal reason.
We have an interesting request here for the mayor, and the doctor can be a part of this as well. Can you say hi to my son, a future Republican? His name is Noah, and he would love a quick hello that he can then share with his class.
Oh.
Noah, this is Rudy Giuliani, and this is a quick hello which you can share with your class. Hello, Noah.
He hasn't asked for a.
Hey, Noah, look.
Don't show the sword.
No, this is a.
Noah, don't play with swords.
Don't play with swords. This is a honorary sword.
Yeah.
Can't do anything.
That was very nice. You're always so gracious.
And
you know I love kids.
so we have a lot more questions here coming in on some of these different races.
Anybody want to know about any particular race? I got all the data here now, and I've talked to several professional pollsters to get ready. Over this weekend, I talked to several professional, those who are notoriously pro-Republican, those who are notoriously pro-Democrat. And I will tell you the final result is there's not a single person in the world that doesn't think the Republicans will win the House. In other words, everybody thinks they're going to win it. The least from a Democrat pollster that I got was the Republicans have about an 8 to 10 vote margin in the House. And the most I saw was about 45 or 50. So that's why I'm not talking that much about the House. Although individual races, like the one in New Hampshire, are very, very important. And over the course of the week, we'll talk more about the House. I thought today we might stick with the Senate because that's the closer. I would say now, the predominance of pollsters believe the Republicans will take the Senate. Some still think it'll stay tied with President Harris getting the chance to. Well, that's what Biden says. I'm sorry. President Biden says that he keeps introducing her as President Harris. So I thought of a sign of respect, I would say President Harris.
Getting some questions on Colorado with Michael Bennett, there running against a Republican who's making some noise, Mr. O'Day.
Mr. O'Day is running I think you'd say a stubborn race. And I think that, the smart money is on Bennett, meaning he's the favorite. But it's become such that if O'Day wins, nobody's going to faint. I mean, he's with. I'm trying to find the most recent poll there, because at one time it was like, a lot of these states were like absolutely sure Democrat, and they've gone.
Michigan, for example, the governor's race in Michigan, people thought Whitmer for sure, and Tudor Dixon's making some noise here down the stretch.
That would be exciting to have Tudor Dixon.
I only say this to the people of Michigan. If you believe that your schools will close for only 3 months, then vote for Whitmer. If you don't, then she's a damn liar and vote her out of office. Because she said that to your face. You know why? She has no respect for you. All during the pandemic, she treated you like serfs. Mm-hmm. Serfs.
They all did.
Well,
They could go get their haircuts. They could
I
go
thought-
boating. They could do everything.
Like Newsom,
we're the peasants.
Newsom could go out to dinner with $1,000 wine, but you had to stay home.
Yeah.
And he could keep his mask off, but you had to put his mask on. Witless was the worst.
Oh yeah.
She's one of the
Because
worst.
you guys had
Hypocrites.
tough lockdowns in Michigan. I
Absolutely.
think it's some of the worst in the country.
If you're tuning in from Michigan, let us know in the comments
couldn't
your
even go
experience.
on a boat, right?
They
I don't think
she
you
was
can
telling
find-
people not to travel. It's
Yeah,
like, don't
yeah.
leave your area. Stay home.
The schools will close down anywhere from a year to 2 years. There were some schools that were still closed at the beginning of this year, the lying governor. But here's what you relied on. This is why you got to get rid of them at the top. You got to fix this party at the top. Because at the top, Biden, Witless, Hochul, Schumer,
Newsom.
they never tell the truth. I mean, every
No,
day.
Newsom's scary.
Every day there's a
You couldn't
new.
even recall them.
There's a new. I mean, you just stay there and say the schools will close for 3 months. There's not a single kid in Michigan that was out of school 3 months. I mean, some of them 2 years.
Yeah. Sinful, isn't it?
The only way you're going to fix, you got to fix this. We need a two-party system.
If
You got to vote the Democrats out so they fix themselves. In other words, you got to stand up and say to these liars and crooks, great party, great history, great people. We're now unfortunately taken over by a bunch of crooks. And it began with the Clintons, who were pure trailer trash, who got a chance to become multi-billionaires and sold this country out over and over and over again for money. $120 million from the Ukraine to the Clinton Foundation. Go talk to people in Haiti about how the Clinton Foundation stole money from Haiti.
Oh, the Haitians hate the Clintons.
Crooks. The Clintons corrupted the party at the top. Biden, proven crook in the hard drive that they covered up. Get them out. Let them straighten their party out. Vote them out right now. Vote them out in 24. By 26, they'll be back with honest people. There are plenty of honest people in the Democrat Party. They just
Yeah.
don't have a chance because of the crooks.
And I hope they either leave that party, start a new party. I don't know.
That'd be
but
good, too.
I cannot understand how the decent people in that party do not speak out against this radicalism.
Well, you know, if you deal with history and you deal with the name changes that go on
Yeah.
for people who supported slavery,
Yeah.
they should change the name of the Democrat Party to the Party of Slavery.
That's right.
I mean, if you're going to change Robert E. Lee University because he was fought for slavery, the Democratic Party preserved slavery in America. Yeah. They fought a civil war over
I was
slavery.
gonna say, there was a big war.
They left the Union over slavery, and way into the and they were the Ku Klux Klan was Democrat, and the people who were the most vociferous voters against civil rights were the Democrats that were good friends of Joe Biden in the House. And good old Joe from Delaware, he wasn't too far behind with, I don't want my kids to be going to school with those people in the jungle.
He did say that. He did.
Of course he did say that.
So can we talk about
You
how
think-
people subscribe to your different things here? So people are on YouTube, right, Ted? And how do they sign up for Rudy Giuliani's YouTube channel?
hit the like button. Be sure to also hit the subscribe button, and you will be alerted of our nightly live. And share with your friends. Share with them via text, email. Share the YouTube channel and let them know what America's Mayor is doing if you're on YouTube. Similar with Getter. Be sure to like and share. And on Facebook, like and share with your friends. The mayor will be live every night this week at 8 p.m. We have a very special show tomorrow night, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you'll want to tune in. We want to thank everyone who's been joining us here to start things off. And we are continuing to build and grow. Every night we are breaking records. More people are tuning in. And we will continue to do so. You can also go to rudygiulianics.com.
His website?
Which is his website. That's rudygiulianics.com. And what does the CS stand for?
Common sense.
So be sure to check out rudygiulianics.com. Of course, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Getter, Truth Social,
Rumble
Instagram, Rumble channel. The mayor is everywhere. So just be sure to Like and subscribe, and we'll list off links to each platform. We'll make sure those are in future YouTube videos so you can find them all in one place. And spread the word. America's mayor, the hardest working man in this business.
Yep.
He really is.
78 years young, and I think you've been working since, 8 o'clock this morning?
Every day,
yeah.
sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
So thank you. Continue to join us as we
Big
continue the
election-
discussion. We still have a
big
good
election
15
coming
minutes.
Up. Don't forget. Come on, get out and vote. If there's early voting, go vote now. Some people had some concerns about Utah. I think you can put that to bed. There's
This Mike
poll
Lee,
2 days ago, Mike Lee
Mike
up by
Lee's a
10
great
in the
guy.
Emerson poll, which you know, if I see New York Times, I don't read the poll. Oh, come on.
Anybody from New Hampshire on?
We've had a number of people from New Hampshire. So if you're from New Hampshire,
I love you.
Dr. Maria,
I love you.
it's her home state. Be sure to
I
chime
have to
in.
tell a little thing, right? I love all people. I really do. But there's something about New Hampshire. I think you people walk on water. Whenever Rudy and I have a show every Sunday, 10 a.m. It's called Uncovering the Truth on WABCRadio.com. And he always says when I start talking about New Hampshire, I've never seen anybody love a state so much. But I do. I love you. I think you're so special.
Amy says hello from New Hampshire.
Yay, Amy! Amy, what you gonna do?
So I have to tell you another one that is probably going to stay Democrat, but it's sure a squeaker, is in the state of Washington.
Oh,
With
Smiley.
Murray and Smiley.
Yeah.
We got one here with Murray's head by.
I forgot about
We got one here with Murray's head by 6, but then we have another where Murray's head by only 1, and that was just this weekend. So that would be one of those.
That would be one of those shocker ones.
Yeah, that would be a very that'd be a very tough one.
Yeah,
That would be a tough one if the Republicans could take that.
that'd be awesome.
So let's see, Utah, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's solidly Republican. New Mexico looks solidly Democrat. And
I don't even know who's running in New Mexico.
and Florida, I think
They're
DeSantis
lost.
is
They're
building
like
a
California.
bigger and bigger lead. I think that's growing. It'll be interesting to see the impact that Biden has. I mean, he was out there. I didn't follow every place that he went, but I believe he went to Georgia, right? Did he go to Pennsylvania I don't think he went to Pennsylvania for Fetterman.
Steven says hello from Michigan. He had a chance to meet you both. The mayor and the doctor actually traveled to Michigan earlier this year, and he says the action, the place to watch, is right here in Michigan. He also says hello, and he loves the costumes. That's Steven in Michigan.
Stephen, we really enjoyed our visit. We were there supporting Lena Epstein for Regent. For I forget the college name.
University of Michigan.
University of Michigan, great candidate. Please support her all the way to the finish line. But I loved, of course, here I go again. I love everybody. I love the people of Michigan. You've been there before. That was my first time.
Well, Michigan is a fabulous state. I mean, it really is a fabulous state. It is a state that unfortunately has, I think, one of the worst governors in America. I mean, one of the biggest.
Witless Whitmer.
Yeah, lightweight and phony.
Yeah.
Husband on vacation, everybody else locked up.
Yeah.
Husband gets a beautiful trip on the lake, everybody else can't go on vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, but you are right, Maria. They all did that. You know, it's common among socialists and communists to be hypocrites.
And
You know, like for
the
example,
elites.
communism is about the poor, right?
Yeah.
Except all the communists are rich and everybody else is poor.
Right.
So in China, all the rich people are communists. All
Yeah.
the poor people are not communists.
Yeah.
They're the serfs, and this is what they're trying to do to you. That's why you get Biden yelling and screaming about MAGA extremists. MAGA people are semi-fascists. Now, of course, that's nonsensical statement, but it is from a man who was dumb before he was demented. And no, I mean,
I'm sorry. That was so funny.
Do you really think that? But do you really think there's any doubt about the fact that he was like stupid? I mean, I know him for 35 years, and he is truly one of the dumbest people I've ever
And that
known.
he's been a liar his whole political career. We kicked him out in New Hampshire when he ran in the 1980 presidential election.
Yeah.
He kept lying about his college degrees. I had 5 degrees. I was the top of the class. That's when we had good reporters.
Cheated his way through law school.
Sam Donaldson called him out and he got
He cheated
kicked
his
out
way
of
through
the,
law
the
school, and
race.
he began taking money the day he walked into the Senate. He never stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing the amount of money he's gotten. I mean, they just revealed another $14 million from China, and his son will tell his son in a text to the son's daughter says, for 30 years I paid all the expenses of the family. I had to give 50% of everything I earned to my dad. Now 50% of everything he earned is somewhere around bare minimum $40-50 million. It all came from foreign governments. It all came from foreign governments, some of which are our biggest enemies. Money from China in the millions, money from Moscow in the millions, well, Ukraine wasn't our enemy, but I mean, they in terms of money, they raped the place.
Everybody seems to have raped. I mean, the Kerrys, the Shaheens, like everybody seemed to rape Ukraine.
Well,
but Ukraine is very corrupt too.
The Ukrainian people are and should be the object of your care, your sympathy, your understanding, and what's been done to them is absolutely horrible. But that does not change the fact that the Ukrainian government is one of the most corrupt in the world. And I don't think there's anybody that doubt it. I mean, when I first investigated in Ukraine, I asked a State Department expert, who can I trust in Ukraine? He said, no one.
Jeep Girl, she's a regular. She says she needs to go fix dinner, or her husband will ground her from the computer.
Well, we're in favor of husbands, unlike the Black Lives Matter against husbands.
She is going to take her tablet into the kitchen, though, so she can continue to listen.
Good. What is she making? I mean, I'm getting hungry again. We ate early today.
Jeep Girl, let us know what you're cooking, and we'll be sure to share that with the mayor and the doctor. We've had this comment, and maybe from Jeep Girl and some others. It's Halloween. Kind of a fun question here. Your favorite candy?
Oh. For me, probably Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Isn't that interesting? I would say maybe Snickers.
Ah.
Or just plain Hershey's dark chocolate.
Oh.
Hershey's dark chocolate with vanilla ice cream. I think I'm going to have it right now. Any Hershey's dark chocolate around here? Any Hershey's?
Yes.
Hershey's dark chocolate?
Governor Murphy. Somebody just asked, whatever happened to
I'm
Governor
sorry.
Murphy?
I made
That's
a
somebody we
very-
haven't talked about.
Did I say that Governor Whitmer was the worst in America?
Yes.
I think. Well, I thought when he was running last year, I looked at his record. I said, "How can anybody vote for this guy?" New Jersey's number 2 in people leaving the state.
Absolutely.
See, I think when you have a
And they're
state,
taxing more than New York now, right? All the people who left
back,
to move to New Jersey now
hard to
it's
tell.
worse.
It depends on. I mean, it doesn't really matter when they take in more
That
than
guy Jack could have won.
when they're taking
What
more.
was his
When the
last
government's
name?
taking
Yeah, Jack Chitterelli could have won. But anyway,
when they're taking more than half of what you earn, it's a socialist country.
he can't be up for running again, Murphy.
Yeah, I always had a rule of thumb after studying communism for many years and being involved in
We
being
got a
involved
few
in.
more minutes. You might
but I-
want to say something, right?
well,
We go to
ma-
nine? I was going to say
Well,
you
I
might
was-
want to say.
Can I finish this?
Eight
Oh,
minutes
sorry.
left.
So I always had a rule of thumb, which is when the government is the senior partner in your wages, you're in a socialist country. You should be the senior partner. In other words, you should be able to keep at least over 50% of what you earn. If the government's taking more than 50% of what you earn, and you're basically working for the government, and they're taking that money and redistributing it to people who aren't working hard as you.
Or pocketing
That
it
is
somehow.
exactly what Marx defined as redistribution of wealth. From those, according to their hard work to those according to their need. That's really what they really believe, which is a terrible thing. They'll destroy this country if they continue. That's why you got to vote. You got to vote. Otherwise, don't complain afterwards.
I do like the way you put that you should be the senior partner in your own wages.
When they start approaching 50% and going over 50%,
Yeah.
you are effectively a socialist country. You have taken the Marx, Engels, Stalin, Lenin, Castro, Saul Alinsky, who taught both Hillary and Obama. Socialist communists who taught both of them.
So, no way to really set. That's a very serious topic. We do have an update from Jeep Girl, however.
Oh,
Jeep Girl, homemade bread fresh out of the oven with,
Wow.
with melting butter.
What?
Oh,
Tomato cracker salad.
she's being
Meatloaf.
very, very difficult.
does she
now.
live?
Mashed potatoes. Dessert. Wait. Dessert is homemade strawberry cheesecake. She says she's gonna save you guys a plane.
Where is
Where
she?
does she live?
I believe Jeep Girl. I believe you're in Minnesota, but correct me if I'm
Oh.
wrong. You've been with us.
Can't
since
we go
the
to
early
Minnesota
days.
for some reason? Is there any
We'll
work
let you
we can
know
do
when-
in
We'll
Minnesota?
let you know when we're in Minnesota. So the questions keep rolling in. Let us know your favorite candy. It is Halloween, and so we definitely want to hear from you, your favorite candy, and see if we can't make the mayor and the doctor even more hungry than they already are getting.
Well, this must be helping Vance a lot. DeWine is winning in Ohio by 20 points. Vance by 4. Those are some of the big winners. The latest poll in Arizona has Lake by 2, but I've seen her ahead by more than that. Laxalt, 1 poll ahead, 1 poll behind. Kelly ahead in Arizona by 6 and by 2,
too
depending
bad.
on the poll.
Yeah.
Walker ahead in Georgia. So right now, if these came out the way they're scheduled to come out, it would be a 51-49 Republican Senate. According to these polls, there are people saying it'll be more than that. We'll see. We'll see. We'll spend time on the House. A little more on the House. Well, no, maybe tomorrow we should spend time on the governor's races because tomorrow night we'll be with Lee Zeldin.
Do you want to tell our viewers what will we be doing tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow-
evening? Where will we be broadcasting live from?
Well, I'll be doing. I'll be at a rally for Lee Zeldin, speaking to the Republicans in the county of Richmond, the borough of Staten Island, my favorite borough because it helped elect me mayor. If it didn't elect me mayor, and we will be having a rally to try to bring up the vote in New York City. You know, Republicans generally lose New York City. Even Abraham Lincoln lost New York City twice.
Oh, God.
So, you know, the first time I lost, I didn't feel so bad if Abraham Lincoln lost it.
Yeah.
But then having won it twice and having been only the third Republican mayor
Yeah,
of
in
the
the whole
20th
history?
century, of the 20th
Of the
century, and only the second to remain a Republican. One of my predecessors quit, but actually got thrown out for being too liberal. And then, of course, one of my successors
Bloomberg.
became an independent and now a big Democrat. So
What happened that
the
guy?
only two that remain Republican were LaGuardia and me. And I think it's really interesting if you think about the mayors who made the biggest difference in the 20th century. Without being modest enough, I will say it was LaGuardia and me.
Well, we have a couple.
I don't think there's much doubt
I
about it.
agree. When you hear from the people, it is you.
But just look, look at crime, look at the economy,
Yeah.
look at the surplus that we created. The only mayor to reduce taxes.
Yep.
We went from being 75% of the people wanted to leave the city to 75% of the people wanted to stay. We were on the front cover of several national magazines as the urban renaissance in the last 2 years that I was mayor. And I reduced crime more than any mayor in the history of New York or in the history of America.
All right, we have just a couple minutes left. Marilyn Dockendorf is asking the mayor, would you be willing to wish my husband Steve a happy birthday?
Only if it's his birthday. Sure, Steve, happy birthday. Happy birthday,
There you go.
Steve.
Happy birthday.
And I have to say, the mayor is on 2 platforms called Shout Out, and Cameo. So you purchase it, but you can you can have requests for specialized messages from the mayor to your loved one, to yourself, whatever you like.
And so if you would like to continue to support the mayor as he speaks out and speaks the truth on his platforms where he cannot be bought, he can't be paid for, then support the mayor on his various platforms. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. This is how we can continue to get the message out.
And save
from
the First
America's
Amendment.
mayor. And share First
And
Amendment.
free speech. I mean, look at all the Democrats complaining about Twitter now. Oh my goodness, Twitter all of a
So
sudden.
much we haven't been able to get to, Mayor. We're wrapping up.
I know.
You want to give
Tomorrow.
one more plug for tomorrow night?
Yeah, tomorrow night we'll be in New York in
Staten Island.
the very famous borough of Staten Island at a Lee Zeldin rally. We're doing a show before. We're doing this show right after at 8 o'clock.
8 p.m. Eastern. People
And,
are asking what time tomorrow. It'll be the same time.
Same time, same place.
Maybe we even go a little early, depending on how
We'll
things
see
turn out.
if we can manage it. Maybe we'll go a little early, and you get to see a little of the rally
But we'll be
and,
live
and
throughout
the
the normal
chance
hours.
of doing a miracle, which is taking this state of New York back from 20 years of
So
crooked Democratic rule.
exciting.
And it'll be our first night taking the show on the road. So if any other reason, check it out and see how things go.
And thank you all for accepting me. Good night.
Superwoman may be needed in your community. I tell you, it's getting bad. The other way to do it, if you don't want Superwoman and the Knight Templar to come in, is vote Republican. The criminals don't want the criminals are voting for the Democrats. You know that, and that's why they want to let them out of jail and everything else. You, the people that are victims, possibly, God forbid, you vote Republican because we are in favor of the police, and we are in favor of enforcing the law, and we're in favor of letting parents take care of their children.
Amen.
And not the Soviet state. Thank you, good night, and God bless America.